Aloha! Thank you guys all for being here. As you probably know, I'm Shay Chan Hodges, and a lot of you have 100, 200 emails from me over the last couple months. But yeah, so I am the lead organizer for this summit, and I've been working with my partners, Imogen Rose Smith, who's over there, and Shay Chan Hodges. I have no idea where he is, up there. And we've actually, depending how you want to count it, have been working for 1 to 2 years to put this whole thing together. And this is not a culmination. This is sort of a launching, even though it's 2 years in the launching. So I really want to thank all of you for coming, whether you are just coming from down the road or as far away as London. We so appreciate all of you for being here and being really hardworking participants. And a lot of people in this room, you don't know it necessarily, but they've been working with us for months, not specifically on the summit itself, but on the overall project. So the next 2 days, we're going to be working toward creating an ecosystem on Maui for effective impact investing with environmental, social, and governance integration that can serve as a global model. And so one of our goals over the next 2 days, besides having these amazing conversations, is to build relationships through really candid and authentic conversations and by learning from each other. A lot of folks who've come here from far away have a lot of mana'o on all kinds of subjects that they can provide to us, but we as a community, we believe, have a great deal that the world can learn from all of us. So it's going to be a reciprocal relationship. And the point is to move forward starting February 2nd on creating some very concrete outcomes, not just for Maui and Hawaii, but nationally and globally. So I do want to do a little tiny bit of housekeeping. There are bathrooms in both directions. You might notice that lunch is kind of late. It's at 1:30, so don't freak out if you weren't able to bring your food inside and you're still hungry, because we're having a break at about 11:30. There'll be more treats outside, so we're not going to starve to death, hopefully. We have Ahupua over here who is filming. There were a lot of people who wanted to come today, and the registration was full. So we will be filming and then broadcasting on Ahupua, which is our community television station, and they're amazing. They make sure everybody in the community knows what's going on. And again, there's no food in here, but we will have the snacks. So before we get started, I really want to take a minute to thank all of our sponsors. These are our bigger sponsors, but the County of Maui has fully supported this project. Mayor Victorino originally put the money in the budget. The County Council approved it unanimously, and it was matching funds, so we had to get matching donors. And Hana Horizons was one of our early funders, super supportive, and without them, Tracy Hayward, we would not have been able to move forward as quickly as we did. I think a lot of you know Nahoalahi Kolu, which is Olahi Luau, and they are so wonderful for the community. Aurora Foundation, Grand Wailea, so that was super important for us to be able to move this forward, so we're really happy about that. And our fiscal agent has been Maui United Way, and they have been more than just a fiscal agent, but a partner in brainstorming and looking forward to actually working with the United Ways across the country in the future. So we really think that's going to be a really important partnership in terms of ESG and Maui United Way. And then finally, UH Maui College has been amazing. So this beautiful Ikelea room they gave to us today, we will be in a different room tomorrow. We're going to be in the student lounge because it's going to be full of STEM kids tomorrow, and you'll see how much this college interacts with the community. So it really is a focal point of the whole community. We had support from brainstorming sessions with Tim Botkin from the Sustainable Science Management Department. We have worked with Nicolette with SLIM. We had classes all in the fall in sustainable investing that the community came to. and of course all the support from all the AV folks and Paina, the food. It's just been amazing. So the person who made that all possible is the Chancellor, Hokoana, and I'd like to introduce.
Oh, that picture. Oh. E kamano ke kua e ke kua nau ke kua e ke kua muki e ke kua hawanabana e ke kua kia e o ka po e ke kua alawalawa o ke au moe e iho e ala e oni e ku e a ka mea ai a o ku la he hale e kini o ke kua e ka lehu o ke kua e ka lalani o ke kua e ka puku i a kua e ka mano ke kua e ke kua nau ke kua e ke kua muki e ke kua hawanawana e ke kua kia e o ka po e ke kua alawalawa o ke au moe e iho e ala e oni e u e a ka mea ai o ko la he hale e kini o ke kua e ka lehu o ke kua e ka lalani o ke kua e ka puku i a kua e ka mano o ke kua e ke kua nau ke kua e ke kua muki e ke kua hawanwana e ke kua kia e o ka po e ke kua alawalawa o ke au moe e iho e ala e oni e a ka mea ai a hoko la e hale. So I have three, so let's try to get it done. The first one welcomes the lehu lehu, or our ancestors, the 40, the 400, the 4,000, the 40,000, the 400,000. So we ask that they be with you as you journey and have these discussions about the agenda, about sustainability, economic development within this Ahupua perspective. So may all our kupuna be with us. The next Oli was written by Edith Kanahele, and she wrote it to take her folks into competition. You guys may or may not be going into competition today or tomorrow. But the point being is she wanted to use the energy from the chant to focus on the task that was at hand. So the words are, Eho mai, ikimai, lunamai e, reveal to me the knowledge that's above. Ona mea huna no eao, ona mele e, reveal to me the things that are in our talents, the things that can be found in the word, the things that can be found in the song. And it says, reveal to me, reveal to me, reveal to me. If you know it, please join me. E ho mai, kaike mai, una mai e. O na mea, una no ea, o na mele e. E ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai, kaike mai, una mai e. O na mea, una no ea, thinking about feeding your dog over here is not going to help because you're not going to be able to feed the dog. So let's use that to focus training. The last one is an Oli Oli or Mele written by Antikilahi, and it talks about the virtues of Aloha. Yeah? About caution, about unity, about humility, about patience. And it tells you to wear this lei of aloha that your ancestors left to you. Akaha'i e nawai, lokahi akunike, olu olu kamanao, ha'ahakohulana, ahonui alanakila, aloha mai e na Hawaii, O ke aloha no, ka mea nui e o mai e nā Hawaii, nā puale nā mamo, a ka hai e nā Hawaii, lo kahi a kulike, olu ka mana'o, a kokulana, a honui ala na kila, aloha mai e nā Hawaii, o ke aloha no, ka mea nui e o mai e nā Hawaii, nā puale nā mamo, a ka hai e nā Hawaii, lo kahi a kulike, olu ka mana'o, a kokulana, a honui ala na kila, aloha mai e nā Hawaii, o ke aloha no, ka mea nui e o mai e nā Hawaii, nā puale nā mamo, nā puale nā mamo. That Oli Oli was written by Auntie Ilahi Paki, and as I said earlier, it speaks of the virtues of aloha. And Ilahi believed that Hawaii's gift to the world would be aloha. And I'm sure all of you would agree with me that our world could sure use a little bit more aloha. So I greet you with this profound sense of aloha. I ask that you do the same with the people you come into contact over the next 2 days, and aloha mai kapu. And then let me welcome you to Maui College. We're so excited to be hosting you here to give us the opportunity, or give our students an opportunity to learn about the discussions. And usually I just do the one chant, but because there's so many important people, because my staff, every time they think, oh, get somebody, we should tell a Chancellor to go do the thing. It's not going to happen, you guys. You have to teach it to yourself. But, I'm excited about this opportunity. We have a sustainable science management program here about learning on how to make good decisions that actually lead to sustainability. We are embracing frameworks of indigenous culture because I believe it deepens the learning for not just our Hawaiian students, but actually for all our students. So it makes complete sense that the framework of this is about the Ahupua, about the importance of everybody being responsible for their kuleana, so that in contributing within their kuleana, or how they should be contributing, we make this place a better place for the future of it. And our education here, I always tell my faculty members and staff members, we want an education that honors this place, honors the people, and honors the value. So have an excellent conference over the next 2 days. If you need anything, let one of the guys in the blue shirt know. I'll go ahead and give you the Chancellor's exemption today to eat in this room. But if they tell you that the Chancellor said you can eat in this room, I'm going to deny that I said that. But go ahead, because I was already breaking the rules so terrible. But we trust that if you break anything, we'll send the bill to you. So, I have the honor of introducing the first panel to get the conference on its way. And it's my honor to introduce Vice Chair of the Maui County Council, Keani Rawlins-Fernandez. Dennis Bumpy Kanahele. And then Neil Hokoana in his new role.
I wanted to show you guys Megan and her signs so that we can try and keep on time. We have a 10-minute, a 5-minute, a 1-minute, and we have how, which means for those who don't know, you're done. So that's it, and thank you folks so much. Oh, actually, one last thing. Some of you who are not familiar with Hawaiian language, of course, we did have a cheat sheet at the front when you checked in. If you didn't get it, I will go bring some in here so folks can understand. Aloha mai kako. About Keani Rawlins-Fernandez, no Molokai Bayo. As Louis said, I'm the Vice Chair of the Maui County Council. Born and raised on Molokai, and I'm really excited to be part of this conference, and even more excited to be the first panel of this conference. So today we have with us Uncle Dennis Bumpy Pu'uhonua Kanahele. He is a Hawaiian nationalist leader and titular head of the state of the group of the nation of Hawaii. He spearheaded the founding of Pu'uhonua o Waimanalo, a Hawaiian culture village and traditional lo'ikalo, taro, and agricultural restoration project in Waimanalo, Hawaii. And Neil Ho'okele Hannes. He is the founder and CEO of Ho'okele Strategies, LLC. Neil facilitates strategic analysis, values, clarification, and organizational alignment to support leaders and enterprises that forge a thriving environment, robust economy, and social equity. Prior experience includes directing the Land Assets Division of Kamehameha Schools, as well as co-founding the First Nations Futures of Hawaii and Hawaii Investment Ready programs. In 2016, he was appointed to serve on the State of Hawaii Commission on Water Resource Management. Our panel is called the History and Future of Investment in Hawaii. And we're hoping that on our panel that would provide a foundational history of Hawaii's subsistence economy and to inspire confidence in investing here in projects that are community-driven and fit into the long-term vision of Hawaii. Investment in Hawaii has had a long and sordid past, and it can be rather tricky to talk about sometimes because it brings up mixed emotions in people. Some nostalgic, and it can bring up some painful emotions, especially for Kanaka Oiwi families that grew up in the plantation era. It can be nostalgic and painful when the past was your survival and your cultural genocide. But this panel today aims to address that elephant in the room, but it also hopes to set the tone of hope and optimism for this conference in 40 minutes. They're about 38 minutes now. And Uncle Bumpy wanted me to just share with you Public Law 103 to 150, the joint congressional resolution passed on November 23rd, 1993, which we call the Apology Resolution in the first whereas clause. Whereas prior to the arrival of the first Europeans in 1778, the native Hawaiian people lived in a highly organized, self-sufficient, subsistence social system based on communal land tenure with a sophisticated language, culture, and religion. In
so we'll start with the first discussion question. The word for the future in Olelo Hawaii, in the Hawaiian language, is kawama hope, and it means, it literally translates in English, the time in the past. And our kupuna left a blueprint for us for creating abundance for our future generations. And so self-determination is a key component in moving forward with sustainable intergenerational wealth. Would you speak to that, Uncle Bumpy, and then
Hi, good morning. I want to thank Ian Chan Hodges and his lovely wife and Shay and Imogen for making this happen. I want to emphasize people coming to Hawaii, really the history of what took place in Hawaii. And the apology bill really is an outline of the whole history, all the way to the end. And so in the discussion on the Ahupua Investment Summit, the idea was how things flow and the Ahupua system. If you look, I think Kamehameha Schools has a real good map of an Ahupua system, something like this, from the mountain to the ocean. And the point I'm trying to get to is because ESG, focuses on environmental, social, and governance. It's an environmental, social governance initiative. We fit like a glove to every political, economic, social, and cultural issues and impacts we're going through today. It didn't start, it started off wrong, on a bad foot. The overthrow was the bottom line. And to build something on that, whatever that may be good projects. If you fall short of that project, you probably run into Hawaiians protesting, whether it's the Mauna or the EV or just putting up things that they don't want on their lands. And so hopefully the apology bill is, it has 37 whereas clauses in the apology, and it walks through all the way till reconciliation. And reconciliation is very important, I believe, in ESG as well, because that's what it's aiming to do, right? It's looking to correct things environmentally, socially, and governance. But if, in our case, in the case of Hawaii, it's really unique because nobody else in the world has an apology for overthrowing a government of the Hawaiian people. And we want to make full use that at some point in time in ESG, it becomes a risk factor. You look at the apology and you're going, I wonder if I should invest in Hawaii. Period. Why? Because it has a real damaging effect and impact on our people. And not just our people, it's happening to non-Hawaiians as well. Everyone is having a hard time making it. Cost of living, inflation, all those things is not helping, a government yet to find solutions for us. And it's going to have to come from the communities. It's going to have to come from a combination of the community of Hawaiians, non-Hawaiians, business partners. I wouldn't depend on government. I would just move ahead and just do what we gotta do to make it happen. But hopefully that you keep in mind, we have some of the apology law available. Brandon got copies. But again, I want to just remind you that the Native Hawaiian people lived in a highly organized, self-sufficient, subsistence social program based on communal land tenure with a sophisticated language, culture, religion. Sophisticated, not just a language, not just a culture or religion, a sophisticated one. So I just wanted to lay that down and get an idea on where we're going with this whole thing. But don't get afraid about this law now, especially for people who tied into the land and your businesses in Hawaii like that. We're trying to find a solution to the problem that we're going through. So, yeah.
Mahalo ka, Bumpy. Neil?
Mahalo. Pagdating mahalo kian. Alam kemo, alam ina amaku, alam ina kupuna yang kali kau kian pun. Alam ina kupuno ne aina na kupa aina na kau aina, aina maluhio ne aina nan kamau. Alam mai kau pakahila pau. Need some help with this. So I got to bring in kupuna, got to bring in amakua because this is a big topic. It's a heavy topic. And it's an honor to be on this stage with Bumpy and Keani. Noticing it's really important for Keani to be here, that next generation. So mahalo for stepping up to this and leading us along the way. Thanks for bringing this reminder of Ahupua. When I first went to work at Kamehameha in 1974, I had an office across the hall from Marilyn Kanahele and the rest of our graphic artists staff at Kamehameha. She drew this, she painted this. So us had saw the original right there all the time. And it's good. It's been very useful, and mahalo for the crib sheet on Olelo Hawaii. That's useful to our guests from out of town. But that's the literal. That's the literal. When you look at Ahupua, that's the literal. It's like saying your grandchild is the offspring of your children and who she married. The important part about this is the relational and how we relate to these lands. So, no ke auli uno kaleva, I Hawaii no na Hawaii. No ke kai uli, I lalo ka moana, I Hawaii no na Hawaii. No ke lepo uli, I loko I ka aina, I Hawaii no na Hawaii. I am related as a Hawaiian to everything to the extent of the heavens. I'm related to everything that is beneath the surface of the waters. I'm related to everything that is in the lepo, in this dirt. I'm related to those who came before, and I'm related to those who are going to come next. That is a philosophy for investment. It's not just physical. It's not just literal. It's relational. And so we wanted to start with the apology, and thank you, Bumpy, you're so much a part of that, and we mahalo Senator Kaka and Danny and Senator Inouye who helped usher that through the Congress, as well as Esther Kiaina, Sister Esther, who really was the staffer who kind of pushed that through. And we said, that's a page turner for us. A dear colleague, friend of mine from Aotearoa, when they settled their claim for the Naitahu tribe of South Island, he said, for 8 generations we have defined ourselves by grievance. And nothing could ever pay us back for what we lost, lives, land, relationships, so forth. But it is time to define ourselves by vision. And so we accept the settlement to be the foundation for the future. The apology was this settlement, in a manner of speaking, not to compensate us for anything, but to really establish the page-turning effect of turning our heads to the future. And that's enough history. You want to know the history, it's not so much if you came to this session expecting who did what to when and how, along the way, you're better off getting a book or seeing a movie. It's the lessons of history that we wanted to dwell on today, and how we use that to point ourselves, our focus to the future. And when I think of those lessons, I know even my own family, and as well as institutions like Kamehameha and the larger society, I've seen us move from a shameful view of ourselves in our culture to a confident view of ourselves in our culture. I mean, I see people in this audience, and we all have that story of the grandparents and so forth who either didn't teach the language, or when they did, had it beaten out of them by schools and by or even sometimes Ohana. Because we had some felt that wasn't good enough, that we needed to move on and accept the ways that were being imposed upon us. That's not the case anymore. We have revived the knowledge of our ancestors, and we're really proud of that. You come here to invest, you need to understand that ancestral wisdom. Because it was, when did Hawaiians become Hawaiians? We came from another place. We became unique to the world when we adapted to this place. So when you think about our chants and all the literature that we have, written and unwritten, that's big data. That's the data that reflected our observation of what was going on here. And if you want to make an investment, how many of you want to make a data-informed investment? Look to the culture then. If you want to make a data-informed investment, look to the culture because it has the answers. And that is foundational. So we've revived that. We need to do more, but the decoder key is there. You want to make a successful investment? Look to that culture, and we're very confident and we're willing to share it. The second thing is that movement from grievance to vision. You know, if we're going to be angry, you know, another friend of mine from Aotearoa was chief judge of the Waitangi Tribunal. Now he's a Supreme Court Justice, Joe Williams. He said he's about 50-something. He's at the point of the spear of the Maui movement. He said the tool of my generation was anger. You know, we had to bring attention to it, justice to fight our way to the table. The other way to the table, we need more tools. So we're moving in that direction. And when you see an attorney like Keani and all these people, young, bright, capable people who are populating the movement, we get them, you know, and we have more tools. And so we got to deploy them around a vision and what we're seeing in the social enterprise movement through our Hawaii Investment Ready program, and Keani will talk more about that, is just tremendous innovation, courage to launch. They're not scared to try because the historic pattern has repeatedly produced failure. We spoke about this earlier, Michael. You know, and yet when you do risk-adjusted analysis, we better stay within the benchmarks. Stay within the parameters of what everybody else does, even though it fails. If you're outside of that, you're risky. What? You know, that doesn't make sense. And what we're seeing at the social enterprise level in Hawaii are people willing to take the risk. And the final point I'll turn back to you is this greater sense of moving from a sense of dependency to self-determination. I can't, you know, somebody did an oral history of me. I know I'm getting old when they do oral history. And I reflected on those days when, to attract federal attention, we really focused on our negative traits because you became needy and you became worthy of charity. And we drank that Kool-Aid, we bought that narrative for way too long. Because there's a way to get resources that were needed. And so, but what I see now is the sense of we're not worthy of charity. We're needy of investment. We're worthy of investment. We have the ideas here to really fundamentally solve some of the environmental, social, educational issues of our community. And we're willing to develop it out and model it just like you'd expect any other business or investment opportunity to do and lay it forth for people to make an investment. So that's kind of what I'm seeing, and that's the lessons of our history. Now, how do we take those lessons? It's going to move forward in a conference like this, or something like this, to figure out how you bring capital to it to make it happen.
Oh, yeah. Uncle Bumpy, I was hoping that you could expand a little about what Neil was talking about, how to help those wanting to help us use this Ahupua model to help to assist what you're doing at Hokoana and what other examples of moving into the future.
I think, like Neil said, we're looking for people to invest in Hawaii based on the Ahupua system, to look at it from that view. in when we repair the environment or the social conditions or government issues. At our village, we have a lot of things going on. My nephew is going to cover a bunch of things later on the next few panels. But we had a discussion last night, and the main thing, especially for Hawaiian, is the apology bill did not give us the right to go to the land and just do what you want. It gives us a right, but as a group, that's different. But what it did give you as a Hawaiian is identity to the land. And that's a whole different story now. Like Neil was sharing last night, the relationship. We have a relationship with the kalo. That's our intrinsic connection to the land. Right? So imagine now, every indigenous, native, aboriginal peoples around the world, the same thing. They're tied to the land, is their staple foods, their, all of those things. But in our village, we're trying, without the help from the government, of course, you always got to work with the government somehow. And we tried going out and getting people interested in what we were doing at our village. We have a machine that can clean out, ponds, rivers, and real dirty places like Hawaii Canal. We just had a partnership. We went into becoming our first community-based owned ISP, at least for our village, internet service provider. So we got a partnership with Internet Society. But that is how we try to come around. And if we're not getting the funding, then let's go look for people that are willing to give us, their IPs, their intellectual property, or share that, so we can test it out. We can test the grounds, because it's so many ways to do this. But the bottom line is, when you come to Hawaii, you really, really check it out. We've been the biggest pawn shop in the Pacific Ocean for decades. Serious. And in every level. And at one point in time, when you read how we lived in a highly organized, self-sufficient, subsistence social program, was based on communal land tenure. So there was no ownership there as well. First whereas law. So the nation has always looked towards restoring that first whereas clause. At least get it to where we can. 21st century, from the mountain to the ocean, how much damage got. Well, in the village, we live pretty much in the Ahupua system. We're on a watershed. We have streams coming through our land that goes out to Delos, out to the military base. So, I probably was it is the biggest white sand beach, I don't know. But it was the biggest village in Waimanalo as well. I mean, it's like huge. And so I just want to emphasize that when you come to Hawaii, we're looking for funds. We're looking for resources that some of you may help, or was interested in coming because you want to help in those areas. We're ready. The nation is ready to do that, and a lot of organizations are ready to do that. But the bottom line is, you've got a lot of history here, so really check it out. Be aware, eyes wide open when you do something here. Don't, it's not the same like before. 2019 and below is gone. And so we got to create and build new standards now. What's going on? We can. Because the younger generation, and let's make this happen.
That's a perfect segue into what I was hoping Neil could share. We discussed last night the three components of the vision, horizon, scope, and effect.
Yeah, sometimes when you hear those words and you think about our ancestral traditions, you think, wow, that's a neat thing for the past. We're not putting it there. We're not locking it there. The concept that we're raising about the Ahupua, the reason this is called an Ahupua Investment Summit is because it is still applicable. and it is essential to securing our future. I mean, how many of you out not from Hawaii? This place is beautiful, yeah. Really a stunning place, and we as locals, I mean, we send a mixed message because we love it and we think it's beautiful too. But there's some parts of Hawaii that are really the geophysical victim of an economy that really was wrong-headed. If you've been to some of the streams that I've been to as part of the Water Commission, like Kanahele work, the plantations were really elegant in how they took every drop out of that stream. And if they missed it on the big grate, they'd catch it in a little pipe. It was an evil genius. I mean, it was what they thought was right in those days. So I'm not judging the past, but what does that do when you dry out a stream for 150 years? What does it do when you detach people from their practice, historic place, relation to place, and their practices for 150 years? What does it do when you denude a forest and you don't regenerate? What does it do when you monocrop and hammer the soil for 100 years? Those are the repairs we need to make, and it's an investment opportunity because all those industries have pretty much collapsed. So we got an open field, folks. And when my last Water Commission meeting, we were dealing with water issues from Hana to Pu'unene, from Waihe to Waikapu, from Ukumehame to Honokohau. The implications of that affected over half of Maui, and that's just Maui. It's everywhere, in every island on this state. And so that's an opportunity. So how are you going to think Ahupua style about what you do to invest in the opportunity, to heal our land, to build a better, stronger society, where our kids don't have to leave here, but have good jobs here. And to me, the three key lessons, and we'll talk about this more in the next panel because our time is almost up here, but you gotta think about your investment horizon. And I can't tell you how many spreadsheets I've gone through that's all about the net present value and discounting the future, anything in the future, and saying, how do we maximize how much we get today? Well, that's not Ahupua thinking. Ahupua thinking is that you got to meet your needs today, you got to survive, but you got to make future value. Secondly, with respect to scope, if you're looking at an investment that is really isolating itself and separating itself from everything else, like it's its own little world, kingdom, you don't know how it's going to affect everything else. And so Ahupua thinking understood that what happens upstream affects downstream. So it's about systems thinking. And what is the effect that our investment has on the larger system? Social system, physical systems, all those systems. And then finally, benefit. We're living in a 1% society. And if the investment continues to concentrate wealth and create a larger and larger gap between the haves and have-nots, it's not an Ahupua investment. It needs to share wealth on some equitable basis. And so those are the three lessons, and the next panel will after the labor panel, we'll dig further into that. But thank you very much.
We have 3 minutes left.
What do you think, Keani? We'll turn to questions. You asked us questions, so what's your model?
Okay. So, in thinking, in the last comment that you made about what happens upstream will affect downstream, oftentimes we think of that in a negative sense, where we don't want to dump pollution or sediment upstream because it'll affect downstream, the users. But in Ahupua thinking, upstream, it would go down into the taro patches, the lo'i. And when entering the lo'i and exiting, it carries with it nutrients that benefits downstream. And so in thinking of that concept of creating abundance, of putting into the stream what downstream users will benefit from, I think that's the approach that in this conference we need to be taking.
my grandchildren and their grandchildren are what's downstream from me.
Exactly.
And I want to create something that's enriched, pass on.
That's exactly correct.
You know, I wanted to say to the, from upstream to downstream, how many of you have Kuleana lands? Anybody? So the Kuleana lands that everybody had, usually going to be from responsibility for water. So, you know, so everybody downstream had a responsibility for that water. A good example is Canada. What reaches to Alabama through water? Mississippi River, right? Mississippi River goes all the way from Canada all the way down to Alabama, comes out in the Gulf of Mexico, I believe. That was their Ahupua system. The east and west was their oceans. They had the sky, they had the forest, they had the plains, and then they had the streams out to the shorelines, into the Moana, into the ocean. So it's a broad range of things that we're talking about, you know, when you look at that. Thank you.
Mahalo again for attending our first panel, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this conference. Mahalo, Mr. and Mrs. Chan Hodges and Imogen for putting this together.